How's it going? Welcome to Sounds Like Liberty, episode number 75 here in the Launchpad Media. I am Nikki P, here with my lovely wife and co-host. And you know what we're doing today, Liz?
Are we talking about?
We're launching ideas in your direction.
Oh, right on.
That's why we got ourselves a bona fide author on today.
Yeah, I'm super excited about this episode.
How excited are you about this episode, Liz?
Really excited.
You just said that, but I don't believe it. You weren't doing the dance.
Oh, the happy dance. That's because we are just back from Florida and my body has not readjusted to it being cold all of the time.
It's not much different temperature-wise than it was in Florida, Liz.
So I'm just sitting here in my pajamas and a blanket. But I am really excited because this is great reading weather. And yeah.
Have you read the book yet?
We have a new novel to investigate. I have not yet because I don't like reading things on screens. I would want the actual physical book.
Did you ask to get the physical book?
Well, no, because I want boots first, but that's a whole different story.
I want to not be poor.
Yeah.
And you know how you can help that, folks? You can help that by going over to supportSLL.com and throwing a few shekels our way so I don't have to dig quite as deep into the We Need to Live fund to pay to put out this podcast.
It does take a lot of time and energy to create this, which we are happy to do.
I don't want to have to make Liz do porn.
It's always nice to get a little compensation.
But, it feels closer every day.
I mean, it's always there, looming in the background, that thing that you could do and get paid. And
I mean, I can't do it and get paid.
That's a lot.
You could do it and get paid.
Better paying than some of the other options out there. But anyway.
Why are you getting off that topic so fast, Liz?
Because I'm not quite that desperate yet, I suppose.
You're not that desperate. When you said that, I was just thinking about Beer Fest.
Okay.
And they do the, we're not that drunk. Those limey bastards. It's a good bit.
So Beer Fest.
Anyways, yeah, I found this dude on Twitter, and I'm very excited that we actually got a chance to talk to him because it was a fun conversation.
Indeed.
And I like fun conversations.
And I had a fun conversation about books, moreover, which is even more fun.
What would be really fun is if you could just decide where your face is supposed to be in relationship to your microphone.
I can't actually hear anything, so...
Yeah, that's fine.
I'm missing that feedback loop that tells me I'm too loud or too soft or too close or too far away.
Yeah, I don't know why you're... Whatever.
Oh, I don't know either.
Did you not put your headphones in?
I don't know. Maybe. Yeah, that's probably it.
Yes, Liz is recording this without her headphones being in.
Well, I'm just,
I don't know why she wouldn't have checked that. I noticed they weren't plugged in before I thought she was plugging them in, and then she didn't.
I didn't. I told you. I'm back from vacation, man. All bets are off.
So, who do we want to plug? Let's show some love this week.
Okay.
We got some podcasting friends. Who do you want to send people to go check out?
I mean, you were just talking about Tasting Anarchy.
Was I?
Yeah.
Go check out Tasting Anarchy. Those are some good boys. Dudes. They talk about wine and liberty.
They do. They talk about government intervention and you getting the stuff that you want, which is always available, unfortunately, those stories. But yeah, I'm excited about that podcast because Thanksgiving's coming up and I am planning a dinner and I'm
You're planning on getting some wine?
Well, I mean, that Alton Brown recipe calls for red wine, so if only for that, I should have something on hand.
Nice.
They say never buy cooking wine because you should at least buy stuff you want to drink. So there you go.
I see.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I'm just kind of thinking about Christmas, in particular this Christmas special. Like, God, we have to get recording.
So excited, you guys.
I'll also put out a call to anyone who listens to this who has their own podcast. If you're looking for someone to do some editing, to give yourself a little extra time during the holiday season, I'm losing some time at work, so I could use the money.
Yeah.
Good rates. Get at me. Without further ado, let's listen to this year's song and then get into our interview with Mr. Wojtecki, the author of Brushfire. And apparently, local to us.
Yeah.
We should meet him in person sometime.
One of these days.
Hit the song. Welcome to Sounds Like Liberty, Mr. Matt. How are you doing today?
I'm doing good, Nikki. How are you?
I'm not at work today, and that was good.
Yeah, that's for sure. Right.
I just got to do
Non-work stuff.
yeah, non-work stuff rules.
Yeah.
So
Yeah. Like just writing and doing Liberty stuff,
essentially,
Yeah.
I'm gonna be honest. I didn't do a whole hell of a lot of anything. Just kind of worked on eating.
Yeah. Which is a thing,
Yeah, that's good too. Yeah.
valid.
I'd like to not be a fat piece of shit, and hopefully, if I pay attention to it, it'll happen someday. I remember when I wasn't a fat piece of shit.
Well, I think it's just the thing that, like,
Slightly.
as you get older, you have to actually be intentional about it, as opposed to when you're younger, you could just eat whatever and it just
No.
Yeah.
It's always been horrible for me. I just find I now have too many life responsibilities in life that I can't do the things that I used to do to deal with it.
Gotcha.
When I was younger, I could just go to the gym a couple extra times a week. I can't do that now. I can barely make it to the gym at all.
Yeah.
Right.
Too much shit that needs done. Look, these libertarian write-ups on songs don't write themselves.
It's not gonna write itself.
I'm sure Matt here gets it. Libertarian books don't write themselves.
I'm super excited about this because I've been on like a reading kick, like a serious reading kick. So more things to read. Are you kidding me?
So here's the funny thing, and I'll tell this real quick. So I totally just saw Brushfire, a thriller, new on Twitter, and I looked it up, and I'm like, oh, it's one that's under Liberty Under Attack. Let's talk to that guy. They do good stuff over there. And so I booked the meeting, and then I wanted to go and kind of familiarize myself a little bit with the book. I never actually got to that point, mind you. But I did read far enough into the description to notice where it was talking about Route 77. I'm like, wait, Route 77? He's talking about Akron. I wonder where the hell this guy's from.
Yeah.
So I find out that we're from the same place. So
Yeah, that was definitely a coincidence there.
I didn't know there was many of us around here. We'll just put it that way. I know a couple, but not many.
I thought it was only one, and then it's like
no, I got a couple of them I know. Like I said, we're all old people though, and with kids and jobs and stuff, so we don't get together often.
Yeah.
So, well, why don't you start us out here? What is Brushfire? It says a thriller. Now, normally, I'm turned off by the word thriller. I want it to just be horror. But
okay.
But what do you mean by it?
Yeah, so I guess I'll start with where I got the title Brushfire, and it's actually from a quote. It's like a tireless minority is working to set the brushfires of liberty. So that's kind of where the title comes from.
Who's that by? I've never heard of that. I like it.
You know what? It I'm not. It's kind of escaping me right
He's
now.
He's like, it's from my first book.
Yeah. So.
I'm quoting myself.
Right. Yeah. So that's kind of where that comes from. I just thought it was really really neat to do that. Just to kind of incorporate that. It's like basically just means even though there's a minority of us, doesn't really mean that we're not making a difference.
Well, there's more of us than there was, say, 20 years ago. It feels like so. There's that.
Yeah, right.
We're not 0.0001 of the society. We're 0.0002 of the society.
Yeah, right, right. So, yeah, and then a thriller. I mean, basically, it has several different themes, like liberty-oriented themes, throughout the book, and also like the main plot of the story is this guy. He works in that antique mall, 77.
Okay.
Probably been there a few times. I don't know, but his life is just ordinary. It just appears ordinary, and then maybe he finds this book out of his friend sends him a book out of nowhere, and it changes his worldview. And then that's where it kind of like, the rabbit holes start, basically, like a government organization, like basically finds out that he has this book and has this information. So they try to track him down so they can apprehend him. And then, so he kind of goes on the run with like a girlfriend of his. So it's very much like a thriller oriented theme, like, especially later in the book. So
nice.
See, I just hear thriller, and then I think of like corporate espionage, and I'm like, that sounds so boring.
Yeah.
Or or like what's that, like Jack Reacher or something like that.
Yeah.
And I'm like, I don't care about this stuff.
I mean, I've read a lot of sort of adventure novels that sort of start out that way, so I'm intrigued.
Maybe it's just like I hate the government so much that I just think thriller, and I imagine that it has to involve government people, and I'm just like, I don't want government people in my book.
Well, see, I think it involves government people, but it's sort of them as like antagonists.
Okay.
Is it kind of like cop killer porn, where like you just write out all the fanciful ways you wish you could off cops or something?
Well,
you don't have to say anything about that. That's a terrible thing. Don't listen to me,
I mean,
fans.
I'll give some of it away, and that is like, I guess most of the crooked cops in the book are portrayed as, like villains.
Yeah.
So It's like the cops that are trying to track down Henry in the book, basically, they are just really wicked. Like, they shoot people for no reason. They think they're above the law, which, like, most of the time, that's the mentality. So.
Okay. Now, how far into the book does Cthulhu come out? Or is that a different kind of book?
Yeah, I think that's a different book.
He didn't say he found the Necronomicon. He said he's just a book.
Well, I can pretend that he found the Necronomicon.
I suppose.
What book would the government care about other than that one?
I don't know.
Yeah.
We have to read the book to find out. Is that the point?
You kind of do. It's,
Damn it!
I'm pretty excited about it.
I'm gonna love, and like the whole thing is it's a book of Trump's tax returns.
So I know we're going to cover this later, but where do we actually find the book?
So it actually just recently dropped to Amazon, so
sweet.
You can pick it up there. But we do actually recommend that you go to Liberty Under Attack /Brushfire, and we also recommend that you purchase it with Bitcoin.
Okay, so I have to get some Bitcoin to buy your book. I mean,
somebody donate us some Bitcoin. So
that's recommended. Yeah, preferred.
Well, how about this? When does the audiobook come out? Because I'm never going to read it.
Okay. Well, actually, you're in luck because there will be an audiobook. LUA is actually working on that with me. So.
Okay.
Nice.
Because I don't have enough time in my life to sit and actually read. I just listen to books while I do other stuff.
Okay.
So I'd love to read it, but it's going to have to be while I'm working on machines or something.
Yeah. Right. So, I mean, that's kind of what we thought, is that a lot of people don't have time to just sit down and read endless volumes of books. So we're putting that on audiobook. I thought that was a good decision too. And
I mean, I don't know why people actually release non-audio versions of books anymore.
Me, I like the actual physical book, but
Well, no.
Yeah.
Actually, you know what I would think they should do is they release like the actual like hardcover book,
yeah.
but there's no pages in it. It's just a download code on the inside, so you can put it inside your library. Like you have the feel of the tactile thing, but like you don't have to deal with all that stupid paper.
No, that would be sad.
You think it's sad all you want. I think people are more likely to read it.
No, I mean, you could have both. I like having the options.
Look, I'm so glad that you think we're still in the 1800s, Liz, but we're not.
Well, no, I'm just saying serve the market. I am at least a market that's out there that likes the actual physical book. So give me that, and do that, whatever that thing was you just said, for the people like you, and I'm sure the market will decide.
You mean me and the other 98% of all people who
and the market
read
will
books?
decide, and then they'll end up doing that all the time. And there you go.
So how has it been for you working with Liberty Under Attack?
You know what? It's actually been really, really great. Like, I don't know if you know Shane Radliff, but
I've listened to Shane a couple times. He's actually on my list of people to get in touch with. He's one of those hardcore anarchist types, so I'm always a little bit leery about approaching them. They're I don't think they like me much.
yeah.
Because I still dally around in the political waters.
Mm.
Oh, political.
Not that I expect it to change anything. I just
Yeah.
hate the idea of non-libertarians calling themselves libertarians. It pisses me off.
So then, are you like a Vermin Supreme fan, or no?
Oh, I do like Vermin Supreme. He's a very nice man. If you've never met him, by the way.
Have you met him?
Me and Liz talked to him briefly up at Pork Fest this year.
That's awesome.
And
yeah.
he is a very, very fun guy. I think we met him without the boot, right?
Yeah, no, he'd taken it off by then.
Yeah. It's who you talk to entirely depends on if the boot is on his head or not. Which is in its own right fun.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, like, I've watched some videos on YouTube of like him at, I think one of them was like at a book signing or whatever, and he was just like, it was just great all around,
Well, we actually watched him deliver a presentation, and it is just beginning to end one of the most hilarious takedowns of government you've ever listened to in your entire life.
It's an experience, man. He's going. He's on fire when he's up there, man.
But he's been doing it so long that he just has this gigantic mythology now.
Yeah.
That after 20 years of curating his character, like he's developed little ridiculous analogies for every part of government. Whether it's the zombie or zombie powered culture or the tooth Nazis, just everything. Ponies as currency.
It's amazing.
Right.
And
it's a good thing to get behind, right? Who doesn't want a pony?
Right.
Right.
I mean, I'm going to be honest. I have no interest in a pony. If you can get me a unicorn, I'll take that.
Oh, well, there you go.
So, all right. So, tell us a little bit about yourself. How did you kind of find yourself to a place where you're going to be writing books that Liberty Under Attack is interested in?
Yeah, so like I think that I've actually made the journey to voluntarism, and it's actually happened quite recently, maybe within the last 2 or 3 years. I think right about like when the last presidential election was, like I was just kind of fed up with everything, and so I just started reading. Rothbard, and then like also Mises and all that other stuff. So kind of just really gave me some perspective. I think like For a New Liberty really like kind of did it for me, and then I started reading and watching like Larkin Rose and stuff too.
I've watched him. He seems kind of like a dick, but
oh yeah,
I think it's the red hair.
Yeah,
so like something about Larkin looks like I want to fight him. I imagine like he would challenge you to a wrestling match.
Yeah, like I think I'm like on his Facebook or whatever, and he seems very like apprehensive. But I think like for the most part, a lot of the videos are pretty good actually. So
he's got good sound reasoning and whatnot. It's just there's something about his face. I don't know. and call me crazy, but I think that's important. If people look like you want to fight them, you probably gotta put yourself in a position to fight them.
Okay, fair enough.
Yeah,
I imagine lots of people want to fight me too.
Might not be inaccurate.
Okay.
Yeah, and another thing is like we've I think that I really got into like the crypto anarchy aspect of things, like just using technology to sort of combat against surveillance and that sort of thing, like encryption and stuff. I think that's really like important, or at least like an aspect of.
I want to believe when it comes to the crypto anarchy thing. It's just every time I turn around, I feel like another piece of the puzzle was invented by the government in the first place.
Mm.
Oh yeah,
and that always kind of turns me off.
Does that make it into the novel at all? Is that part of the plot?
Yeah, that's kind of why I mentioned it. Was there's several like technology themes throughout the book, like coding, like hacking techniques, PGP, just like a lot of the technical stuff are just like incorporated in there.
So if we read this, it's going to be like an early 90s like cyberpunk movie?
Well, kind of. I mean, like at the end, they sort of try to use older technology to like stay hidden. Like the
okay, so if you're to set this next to Johnny Mnemonic, where's it going to fall? Better than or on par with?
I don't think you can compare those because it
was going to be a serious selling point to me if you did, because Johnny Mnemonic's one of my favorite movies.
It is a pretty good movie, I think. Yeah,
like that may be part of how I ended up where I ended up, is movies like that.
There you go.
Henry Rollins playing Dr. Alcom.
Oh yeah, that's right. He does. He is in that movie.
Dolph Lundgren walking around as the street Jesus.
Yes. Yeah. Yeah,
I apparently need to see this movie.
You've never watched Johnny Mnemonic?
No, I'm not hip.
Yeah.
Look, I will stand by the fact that the 90s produced some of the best sci-fi films ever. And by best, I mean they're all completely ridiculous.
Yeah. But we were okay to go for ridiculous back then.
I know, it's terrible that they don't. Like, they were all cheesy as all hell.
I mean, look at flipping The Fifth Element, man.
That was actually too good.
It was good. Yeah. I'm a big fan of those movies too. So
I think one of my favorites out of that era that I think doesn't get enough love is Strange Days.
Mm.
Yeah, I actually have that. Yeah. It's really.
It's like one of the first appearances of Ralph Fiennes.
There you go.
Just came out of nowhere.
Before he was Voldemort.
It's long before he was Voldemort. So, right on. So, I'm curious. Technically, we're a music podcast. If you didn't know that.
Yeah, I kind of checked out a couple things, and I was actually gonna mention a couple things from the book.
Go for it.
So,
I'm curious what you were listening to when you wrote it. Was it all just like 90s trip hop, just sneaker pimps and shit like that? Just put you in that mind space.
I get into a lot of metal actually, and so that kind of helps me. But like,
what's metal to you?
Like, like Cradle Filth and
okay, so actual
like
metal.
some of the local bands around here. Yeah, like actual metal, right?
Well, I mean, metal is just such a broad term anymore.
Yeah,
I'm not even sure what it means half the time. Like, I guess technically I like instrumental progressive metal, a lot of which uses clean guitars now. Like,
okay.
I don't know what metal's lost all meaning to me.
Yeah.
I don't even know that people make metal music anymore.
I think just like whatever is like the hardest or hard hitting metal.
Okay.
Yeah, like yeah, like there's or even like industrial too. Like maybe I think like KMFDM released a new album, so like I was kind of listening to that a little bit. But like when you write a book, it's kind of like you need something to kind of have noise, going on in the background. So, and like just like some type of electronic that's like melodic or really low down.
Well, I always used to tell people with my band Purveyors of Fiction that my only goal for the band was to be the soundtrack to a vampire sex orgy. Like I feel like that describes the band I wanted perfectly.
So you wanted to be in the background of Blade 2 or whatever?
No, because I think they ruined it.
Oh, okay.
That was way too techno.
Oh, okay.
I think vampires are older, so they're gonna need something a little more dirty. Just
so what?
Like I think they lived. I you know what I think is I think lived through the blues. I think I still have in my head the Interview with the Vampire things. Like I imagine all the vampires in America streaming through like New Orleans.
Mm-hmm.
So they got to have a bit of that touch of the old black music, and like they're all gonna have like weird racist kind of ideas about black people, like because they lived through it.
Weird. But okay, I guess they're super old, so that's usually how that works.
Well, yeah. Like I mean, they lived through the Civil War, so they're all going to be, let's say, less than woke on the racial thing. Like they're cool with them, but like they still remember when they used to have a lot of slaves on the plantation.
Interesting.
Okay.
I mean, unless you're reading Galilee, weren't they like they were all brown and they were all vampires or something?
I'm not entirely sure what they were. Are you a big Clive Barker fan at all?
Yeah. Didn't he do like Lord of Illusions or something? Or
he did. It was a short story from the Books of Blood before it was a movie.
Okay.
I like his writing a lot better than the movies, but that is a fun movie.
Yeah.
His big claim to fame is he wrote Hellraiser, which was
that's
originally a novella called The Hellbound Heart. He's done some other fun stuff. Technically, the Candyman series is based off of one of his stories.
Okay, yeah, that's a good one.
But yeah, Liz was referring to his book Galilee, which kind of takes place in a weird part in history. As she says, weren't they a bunch of black vampires?
I mean, they were immortal in some sort of way. I don't know.
Yeah, it was weird. I don't entirely understand it.
Yeah.
So I'm going to read this book and I'm just going to be like, it's not Clive. You got to stand up to that.
Hey, how's it going? Nikki P here. Want to support the show or just give a big middle finger to Patreon? Consider stopping over to supportSLL.com. Members of the Freedom Choir get access to the private Facebook group and actual physical merch. Want access to the unedited raw interviews as they're recorded way before they're released? It's in there. Is that not enough? And you want membership to Freedom Song 365? It's in there. There's even monthly bonus swag for top tier supporters. So head on over to supportsll.com. Help Liz and I get to libertarian functions and even just cover the costs of making the show. If I'm not a good enough salesman, how about this?
Support my mom and dad and Sounds Like Liberty. Go to supportsll.com.
You heard her, folks. Join the Freedom Choir at supportsll.com.
So how did you get into writing? How is that the outlet that you chose?
I think like I found that it just like came natural to me. Like it just kind of like I had this idea that just sort of came to me, and then the words kind of just, they wrote themselves kind of.
You know what this asshole is?
He was visited by the muse. That's cool.
Yeah, it was very easy to write. Like I wasn't blocked at all. Things went very smoothly on paper. So it was, and I just think that like I like doing it. I enjoy writing. So something that you have to really enjoy. Otherwise, like it's not going to be like the book's not going to. It probably will never get done. And it took me like 2 years of writing, just like after work and after other things.
Well, I fancied myself a writer for a couple summers, and then I just gave up on it. And mostly because I didn't think anybody was going to ever read what I was writing. It was difficult to say the least. I'm going to be honest. I probably would have a Me Too or something happen to me now if I wrote that stuff. So there's always that. Lots of graphic sex and violence. I don't know how much call there is in writing.
Yeah.
I think there's probably a genre for that, right? I mean,
yeah, but I mean, I feel like you're going to be everyone's going to just assume you're derivative of one of the people that started that genre.
No.
So you worked on this after work. Like you follow like the whole Stephen King on writing kind of thing, where you do your pages every day until you're done, and then you go. Or what was your method?
That's kind of how it was. The weekends were more productive just because I could go, to like a coffee shop or something and pretty much be there all day. Just like, writing stuff on pages. And then like I tried to somewhat like read over what I wrote that day just to kind of like edit it a little bit and see if it makes sense. And then like the other thing is like I have like 3 or 4 like sub stories in there that are like separated. I separate them by chapters. So at one point there's a story like that really like emphasizes the torture of like state sanctioned capital punishment. So that's like kind of one story, and then that kind of falls into like just the injustice of the justice system, basically. So that it's kind of like a sub story, but then I use those characters and then I tie it all in at the end, so it like comes together.
Okay. Now, do we get resolution? I tend to like things that don't resolve. Like, we don't get like a fancy cliffhanger for the next book in the series, right?
No, I think pretty much things do resolve at the end. I probably shouldn't give it away.
You don't have to give it away. Like, I'm just saying, does it resolve or is there another book? Really, I'm just asking you roundabout, is there another book on the way?
I don't think not at this time. I don't think I'm going to use the same characters, but there may be like the book. You know, I think I'm still kind of trying to think of what I'm going to do, but I don't think I'm going to like continue it as like a sequel.
You're not gonna write the same book from the Fed's perspective?
No, absolutely not.
Just do some apologetics there. Is that what that's called?
Yeah. Yeah, we well, interestingly enough, like a lot of actually all of the books at LUA are not copyrighted, and I don't know how you feel about that, but like
I don't believe in IP.
Basically, oh, okay. So
I'm a libertarian, man.
So like,
come on.
Okay. But what I do is I use like, and this was actually something Shane recommended, was I use a Creative Commons license, and so that was just kind of speaking of feds like breaking down your door and stuff. Like I didn't want to like use like a copyright because I don't think that that's like right. I don't really care if somebody steals my book or uses it in another form or something. So like I thought that was like really the best way to do it. Mm-hmm. And like I'm not sure if you're familiar with that, but there's like a documentary out there which is really cool about Aaron Schwartz. So
the name sounds familiar. Why do I know that name?
He's like the founder of Reddit, or he was the founder of Reddit.
Is he the one they didn't like?
Yeah, they did not like it at all. Yeah,
I feel like there's a whole like out of all the big companies that became big lefty companies, they all had at least one founder that was like it was pretty on the libertarian spectrum, and they got rid of them as soon as shit happened. Another great example is obviously Vice was founded by Gavin McInnes and two other guys, and and they bought Gavin out as soon as like things seemed like he was not as on the lefty train as they were, I guess.
Yeah. Yeah, like Aaron, I think Aaron was very much like leftist, but he did a lot of things to like open up like information, especially like in the legal section or whatever. There's a lot of that stuff was like locked up and not available to the common good or whatever. So, but then I think in the end he ended up committing suicide because it was just like too much for him. I guess like they were really after him, and they were going to like convict him and stuff. It's interesting.
So he's not a Ross, is what we know.
Yeah, no, he just like offed himself before that happened. But like, I'm totally sure they would have done the same thing to him as they did to Ross.
Yeah.
But I want to have like a 40 to pour out for somebody right now.
Right, man.
One for my homies.
It's awful.
I'm awful, Liz. That's what you meant to say.
No, it's not.
And it's okay. I am. I know it. I understand it. I have my peace with it. So, I'm trying to think. This is the first time we've ever had an author on.
I know.
And so it's like I feel like there's this questions I want to ask, but I feel like they get too big too fast.
Let's ask an author a question. What do you read? What do you like to?
I'm a big fan of sci-fi too, and like I have a Neil Stephenson book which I haven't really cracked yet, but I'm actually reading the Snowden book right now.
How terrible is it?
It's good actually. I like it.
I can't trust anything he says.
Oh really?
Yeah, no. His whole story has just become, I don't know. It's
just like
too much apologization or whatever. Too much apologizing for the government. Like, I get it. Like, not everyone's reached like the level of wokeness that people like us have, but it's like, I mean, so you can see all this and like you don't think the whole thing is as bad as we do. Like, how is that possible? Like,
Yeah. I mean, that's the thing too with like Chelsea Manning. She, like, despite all the stuff that like, she went through, she's still like a blatant socialist, which is kind of weird.
I guess.
Doesn't add up to me, but yeah.
I just don't talk about Chelsea Manning.
Okay.
That goes down
That's a
some
good approach.
That goes down some paths that our listeners don't need to go down.
Okay. Fair enough.
Yeah, I'm personally like me and Liz kind of get into it because she's a Trekkie, and I'm more like
hard sci-fi.
Yeah, if it's not Isaac Asimov, you're not writing the right stuff.
Yeah.
Give me the old school. What's his name there? Dream of Electric Sheep and all that.
Yeah, Philip K. Dick.
Yeah, if it's not hard like that, I don't need. Why am I wasting my time on it?
That's one of my favorites actually. Have you read was it like an older book called Dow Zero or something? Like it's like an old 70s book.
I know Asimov wrote so much shit that like I remember the local library when I like was growing up had so much Asimov that it was literally like 3 shelves of nothing but him. And it wasn't even like repeating the same book. It was just he wrote so many books that you couldn't find a way to the end of it.
Yeah.
And none of them were small books. They were like all these giant things. I don't know how anyone could write that much, just how prolific he was.
Yeah, I think it's got to be harder to write because you've got this fan base that like they fully expect you to like follow all these laws of physics and everything. Like it's like your world that you create doesn't follow things like to the T. Then you're just like a trash writer.
Pretty much.
Fantasy. Yeah.
You just like go write some Lord of the Rings shit if you're not going to have it right. Terrible.
Yeah.
I was trying to offend Liz, who's looking at her phone.
Well, I was trying to find this book you mentioned because now I'm curious. But
well, you're going to listen back and put it in the show notes, and
I
we'll
will.
know.
I will. It's true.
Engage in the conversation.
I'm sorry, I got all obsessive.
Not all the work that you have to do when the conversation's over. You think about the work. This just ends up what it is.
For me and mine, you are holding all of my dreams, slipping through the fingers of time. It's not as it seems to me. Pages in the book of life.
Have you written anything before this? I don't know that we actually covered that.
Yeah, I actually did. When I was like in my early 20s, I wrote a military memoir.
So were you a soldier at one point?
Yeah, like I was in the Marine Corps, although like, my changes my views have like drastically changed since then.
Does that factor into the change at all, or?
I think it does play a huge part in it. And I know like a lot of other veterans that are the same way, especially like being skeptical of government. So,
well, one of the podcasts I listen to, I think there are a couple Marines in there. The Biting the Bullet podcast, and those guys are all former soldiers. Let's just say it definitely has shaded the way they think of government.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah. So, but I think I always really wasn't, up until recently, the way that I am, like in terms of my views. Like before, I was just kind of like I guess maybe like the, typical patriot or whatever, like hoorah type of person,
Yeah.
But now much more like individualistic and just kind of more liberty oriented, and I don't know, just really really skeptical of all of that type of nationalism, and especially it seems like it's just getting worse every day. So
I feel like they're definitely kind of drawing the lines a lot more clearly than they used to be. Like you're either really for the government and you're gonna parrot the company line, or we're gonna toss you out with all the weirdos, and
right.
the anarchists and voluntarists and libertarians kind of all get dumped into one big pool over there.
Yeah, right.
So what's the memoir called?
It's called Every Other Four, FOUR. And so it's just it's like just a day-to-day journal of like while I was, in Iraq. So I'll admit that it's probably not like my best writing, but I think that like this book is much better in terms of, just my overall writing style has improved since then.
I mean, I'm a big fan of memoirs. I read a lot of them, and I feel like there's something of it is more about putting your personality into it than getting the style completely right. So there's probably a lot of leeway you can get with a memoir.
Yeah, that's true.
So I'm curious, what kind of personality are you? If I'm intending to spend, Ancapistan with you, I got to know you're chill, right?
Yeah. Well, yeah. I mean,
you're another one of those social
chill.
Conservatives, aren't you?
I'm not, not at all. I just let people do whatever they want, and I don't really care, and I don't want to force anyone else to do things they don't want to do. So.
Okay. He says that now. But just wait until the acid-infused orgies start.
Well, I mean, we could cross that bridge if we get to it there, when we get to it.
Sure.
Look, everyone's a conservative when the acid's on the table and the clothes come off. It's terrible.
I'm just going to be over there in my garden with my books. Which apparently I'm the only one who still likes books.
Whatever.
So I'm going to have a lot of them, I guess.
And she's gonna be over there with a stack of books and not realize that I've ripped all of the pages out and used it for what do you call it?
Making
mulch.
acid sheets.
No, for mulch.
Okay.
Oh God, if only. No, in that world, why are we taking acid sheets? We're taking liquid acid.
Oh, okay.
The good stuff. The stuff where you're immediately on another planet.
Yeah.
So what do you envision of, like, say, the utopia? What is the world that you're fighting for? That why do you write this stuff?
So I think although it's nice to think of ultimately like a utopia, I guess, I think that it's more possible that you could achieve liberty in your lifetime by just kind of developing just like pockets of liberty versus like trying to just like smash the state, although that's like a still good goal. Like I think it might be on the way to do that, you might like develop some kind of alternative society or like counterculture or something, you know what I mean? So I think that's like a good way to go about achieving the ends, sort of. And so I think there's a lot of other books at LUA Pub that deal with like self-liberation versus like we've got to like make sure society gets free before we ourselves get free.
Yeah,
I think it's really interesting to just kind of at least like freeing yourself mentally is a big step to doing that. And there's a couple books out there on that site that just kind of go into that in more detail. And I just kind of touch on it a little bit in this book too. like I think fiction's like a really great way to just kind of sneak your ideas out to like normal people.
Yeah.
And then they're like, oh, what is this? Like I've never thought of it that way before. So just like using fictional characters to depict like a free society or something, you know?
Yeah, that's one thing I love about fiction because people are kind of willing to go there with you and your characters.
Yeah.
And they don't ask as many questions. And then, you know, they
Don't
can
ask, no questions, just
They
give
can
the money.
free their minds a little that
Yeah.
way.
It's okay. Be confused, Liz.
It's okay.
So I'm just over here singing songs from Don't Be a Menace.
Is that what that was? Okay.
Yeah, it's where the priest comes out and he's talking to the people. He's like, don't, why come, don't ask questions like, why come the preacher got to have a nice house? Why come the preacher got to have a new car? Don't ask, no questions, just give the money.
Okay.
And then he passes the hat around.
Right, as you do, I guess.
I don't know, Liz. I've never been to one of those black churches.
I've never been to one of those black churches either. So there you go. Jeez. So what is there like an author community in Cleveland? Is that a thing?
No, I think as far as I know, well, actually, like there's a couple little societies. They're not like liberty oriented, but
Yeah.
there's like writer groups and stuff. Lit Cleveland is one of.
I was going to say, how much do
like-
people suck in those groups?
Yeah,
I'm just
like
imagining as liberal trash as the city is, like how
yeah.
frustrating that would be.
Well, this one I found actually like kind of helped me with some of the stuff. Like to read out your writing to like complete strangers and then have them say that it like doesn't suck. Then that's it's
But what
kind
if
of like
they
a
say
good.
it does suck?
kind of cathartic.
Yeah, then I just would have to like question my whole like writing thing, you know. I probably wouldn't write anymore, or like I would just be like, "Why are they saying that?" You know.
Yeah.
Varying
Or there's
degrees
stuff
of wokeness,
like-
that's why.
Yeah. But yeah, you're right. I mean, like a lot of the groups are pretty terrible. It would be nice if there was some type of a liberty-oriented like writer group, I guess. I mean,
It sounds like you have a project in to begin.
Like tell us when
Yeah.
tell us when you start it so we can join it. There you go.
what's that? Oh, when I started. Yeah, when I started. Okay. Yeah, but I mean, like LUA publications, I guess would be considered like sort of a group of writers. Like, I mean,
How many books do they have out there now?
yeah, like they've been putting out.
I know Shane's got like 4 or 5 himself, doesn't he?
Yeah, like he's got it, and then I think Shane's also working on a fiction book too.
Oh, cool.
And then he's got a lot of stuff on Banu, which is like
Yeah.
like this contraction of voluntary, not vulnerable. And this dude Rayo, like went out into the Siskiyou region and like lived in the wilderness and all that. So there's like a lot of the writings that he received from like the 70s, and so he published like a lot of those letters, which are really interesting.
Yeah.
It sounds really interesting.
Yeah. Have you not heard of these guys before?
No, I'm not hip. I'm really excited because I get to explore this now.
Yeah. I host a podcast on Libertarian Podcasts. So like
Right.
I'm well acquainted
Of course.
with what they do. I've just never actually talked to any of them.
Yeah.
We have to get Shane on. Like we do. I just haven't. I've been dragging my feet on it.
Mm.
He's friends with Nick Irwin.
Oh, right on.
So
Yeah, I saw that you had Nick on there, and I think Shane was on Nick's podcast. And
he
so
was on there
they-
probably like maybe a month ago. I was listening to it
Yeah.
while at work. So anyways, you were saying you listened to
Oh no, yeah, like I was just kind of listening to some of your other podcasts like before the show, and I listened to some of Nick's, and so Nick's like seems like a great guy. Like I've always listened to Enemy of the State,
Enemy of the State.
the Dank Pod Stash. Yeah,
Mhm.
They're good people. Let's just say
Yeah.
Enemy of the State is Maddie K from Pennsylvania.
oh really?
It's another podcast. There are many libertarian and anarchist podcasts out there, just for the record. Like I
Yeah.
think there's about 150 that I know of.
Oh man, that's jeez.
And if you want to know more about them, you can always go to Liberty Podcast Ranker, and they're adding new ones all the time. And you can start turning the ranks up on yours. It sounds like Liberty's been number 10 on the list forever so far.
Yeah.
So I think that's just because I'm one of the only people that knows and goes and votes every day.
You're the only one that votes.
Undoubtedly, I check the numbers. But
yeah.
although the guys over at Biting the Bullet, is it Biting the Bullet or is it Burning Boots? One of them managed to get their own podcast above the punk rock libertarians on there.
Oh, really?
Oh wow. Yeah.
But yeah, libertypodcastranker.com. It's fun stuff.
Good times.
So, right on, boss. Well, I have a politics meeting I need to switch to another Zoom room for. So why don't you lay out the plugs while we still have you?
Yeah, sure. So you can pick up the Brushfire thriller book, and it's available on Amazon now. If you just like type in Brushfire, then my last name, it should come up. It's available $20. You can go to Liberty Under Attack /Brushfire, and then there's you'll get a digital copy for free if you buy it there, and it's also like $4 less, I think.
Yeah, I was gonna say, I
So-
imagine you guys were pricing it to get people to go back to Liberty Under Attack to purchase it.
Yeah, and I think they're also like LUA is also doing like a bundle deal too. So I think you can get my book along with several other books too, which is kind of a good deal if you're gonna.
It's a good
just-
deal if they're audiobooks.
They're all.
Otherwise, it's a whole bunch of shit I'm not ever gonna look at.
Oh, you.
I'll feel happy that I sent some Liberty peeps money, and then that'll be that.
Yeah.
But then I suppose you don't really care. Past you got the money, right? You capitalist, you.
I'll read the book to you. It'll be great.
Yeah. How often do I see you that you're gonna read a
I
book
know,
to
right?
me, Liz?
When we're sitting by the fire and I'm knitting. No, that never happens. But cool.
Sitting by the fire on the school bus that we have in the future.
Right.
Well, when we get there, we can pretend that that's the life that we're living. Anyways, Matt, thank you so much for coming on, man. It was a lot of fun. Glad to have you.
Appreciate you
Thanks, Jeff.
bearing with us. We've never
Well,
done
and once again, we will have to get together sometime since we actually live in the same city.
it. Right?
Yeah, for sure.
Yep.
For sure.
All right, but you have yourself a good Sunday. Thanks.
All right. Thanks.
It's hope that tears us down, we're going down without a fight. Break off these paper chains, wake up a free man. Break off these paper chains, wake up a free man. Break off these paper chains, wake up a free man. Break off these paper chains, wake up a free man.
It was good stuff, right?
Mm-hmm.
I enjoyed it. We'll never let them know how much editing I had to do because I was getting a little me,
Mm-hmm.
getting a little catty. The claws came out, made the guest uncomfortable.
I mean, you know.
I do tend to make our guests uncomfortable. I just tend to make people uncomfortable in general.
I feel like we have a good vibe here, and all of the things are part of it. And if you've heard the show, you kind of know what's
Yeah, you know Nick's a piece of
coming on.
shit.
But no, I think there were some very complimentary parts of the interview, and I'm really excited that Mr. Wojtecki was willing to come on and talk to us about stuff.
Yeah, the book sounds great. It
Yeah.
sounds. I always worry about anything that sounds as a thriller.
I know.
'Cause I'm gonna be like,
you just don't like that word. That word. rubs
Well,
you
it's the
wrong way.
word that they use to describe shitty horror movies.
Well, right, because calling it a thriller means they have an excuse for being shitty horror, as
Yeah,
opposed to just being horror and being recognized as shitty.
yeah.
Well, which is fair and all, but I mean, I don't really read thrillers, but I want to read this book, so
So here's the thing.
I feel like he's doing the right things there.
He is doing everything. But here's the thing.
Mhm.
Sounds like Liberty.com. You should go there. You should check out the show notes. Visit the links. Learn about all of the deep insight that we have on all these topics that we don't have a chance to get to in our very short podcast. If you didn't know, we go to great pains to make these episodes short. It used to be 3-hour episodes, sometimes 4.
Yeah,
You
just to get to talking.
do you remember we had to break that one episode up into 2 with our
It was
good
a
friend
heck of an outfit.
Jeremiah Harding? And there's still shit that made the cutting room floor.
Yeah,
Like, I will talk forever.
yeah. I mean, and fortunately, our guests, some of our guests are very generous with their time, and we do. We have these.
Are they
very
generous with their
long,
time, or are they libertarians and
involved conversation
just can't shut up like we
about
can't shut up?
stuff. So yeah, if you want to delve into that rich deposit of golden nuggets, then you should check out the support page, and you can get access to all of that.
You know why they really need to check out the support page?
Why?
Because it's freaking the holiday season. You know what that means?
Oh yeah,
It means that those conversations I normally have with Lizzie about like being a libertarian and letting her talk,
yes,
they're going to turn into Christmas movies and TV show reviews. So we put on year-round tree. This year we have 9 episodes coming at you. We had 9 episodes last year.
Yep.
And they're all available for members of the Freedom Choir.
that's right. So if you want to get into the holiday spirit,
Do you want to know what we thought about that new Disney Plus movie?
yeah, it's
Noel?
coming at you. We watched that.
Bill Hader,
And,
Anna Kendrick.
yeah.
Yeah, we give the opinions.
There you go.
We've got lots of them.
This is true.
But you need to be in the Freedom Choir to hear those opinions. And let's see, as far as options go, like you can give regular money, you can give us crypto. I take crypto. I like crypto.
Hmm.
Don't know what to do with it, but I guess I just sit on it and hopefully someday like it pans out.
I don't know if you know anything about crypto. Yeah, hit us up on.
Technically,
No,
we
the
have.
things.
Technically, we own Bitcoin now.
Oh, well, there you go.
Like I don't know how much. Not much. And like I paid a lot of money to like have that, but it was a test at work.
Yeah, nice.
I gotta remind Jordan he owes me $20.
Okay, well, there you go.
So once again, go and check out our buddies at Tasting Anarchy.
Yeah,
They're good people. Good
people,
show.
fun show.
You know, they help do that whole Childebert thing,
Yes,
which
we are so excited about. Now that the whole Florida trip is over, that's like the thing that's looming on the horizon, and I am so stoked. You don't even know.
I know, and I keep hearing about. I gotta go do votes and stuff for the delegation.
And we're totally gonna do that, and I'll probably see my dad because he's down there somewhere. But I mean, Childerberg, y'all.
I know. I'm gonna play guitar for libertarians.
It's gonna be awesome.
It's gonna be sweet.
Yep.
But this has been episode number 75, folks. Thank you so much for listening. Tell your
Yeah,
friends. Let's help grow this thing because I want to spread the word of music and freedom and nerd culture to more people.
Yeah.
So take it easy. Have a good one.
Thanks, guys.